And we do say good morning, America. We hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. A very busy Monday morning. A lot of reaction coming in, George, to your interview.
Boy, there sure is. It was coming in all night long.
Yeah, that's right. It was one of the top trends on Twitter throughout the night, and understandably so, George.
Well, you know, and it wasn't just the hour of television last night. Remember, we sat down for several hours, so people were going through the transcript and getting all those headlines as well. When you talk about Twitter, it all began with President Trump. He was on Twitter. You see it up on the wall right there. Even before that interview aired last night, calling James Comey a slimeball, the worst FBI director in history, a liar. Now you can listen to Comey and judge for yourself. It was an intense interview. For several hours, James Comey, the man who stood at the crossroads of the most divisive election of modern times, addressed his most controversial decisions and delivered a series of jaw-dropping conclusions. Do you think the Russians have something on Donald Trump?
I think it's possible. I don't know. These are more words I never thought I'd utter about a president of the United States, but it's possible.
That's stunning. You can't say for certain that the president of the United States is not compromised by the Russians.
Yeah, it is stunning, and I wish I wasn't saying it, but it's the truth. It always struck me and still strikes me as unlikely, and I would have been able to say with high confidence about any other president I dealt with, but I can't. It's possible.
Thinking back to his time as a prosecutor investigating the Gambino crime family, Comey compares Donald Trump to a mob boss.
There's a distinction between a friend of yours and a friend of ours. I felt this effort to make us all, and maybe this wasn't their intention, but it's the way it felt to me, to make us all amica nostra. We're all part of the messaging. We're all part of the effort. The boss is at the head of the table, and we're going to figure out together how to do this.
How strange is it for you to sit here and compare the president to a mob boss?
Very strange. And I don't do it lightly. And I'm not trying to, by the way, suggest that President Trump is out breaking legs and shaking down shopkeepers. But instead what I'm talking about is that leadership culture constantly comes back to me when I think about my experience with the Trump administration.
Comey explains his thinking on the October surprise that Hillary Clinton believes cost her the White House. Why did he reveal he was reopening the Clinton email investigation?
We knew about it, I assume, when you knew about it.
He says he had no choice after additional emails are found on the computer of Anthony Weiner, husband of one of Clinton's top aides. You could try to find out first whether or not they were indeed relevant, whether there was evidence there of a crime.
Well, maybe, and maybe another director might have done that. My view is that would be a potentially deeply irresponsible and dangerous thing to do.
But we don't know what's in it.
Well, we know there are hundreds of thousands of Hillary Clinton's emails there. That's an affirmative act of concealment.
What the public doesn't know at the time is that the FBI is actively investigating the Trump campaign and whether members were working with the Russians to influence the election. Your critics say this is a clear double standard. You revealed information about Hillary Clinton. You concealed information about Donald Trump. That elected Donald Trump.
Take a step back and stare at the two cases and the posture they were in. The Hillary Clinton email case was public, and the counterintelligence investigations trying to figure out whether a small group of people, not Donald Trump, we were not investigating Donald Trump, whether this small group of Americans was coordinating anything with the Russians. We had just started the investigation, didn't know whether we had anything, so it would have been brutally unfair to those people to talk about it, and it would have jeopardized the investigation.
February 14th, 2017. In a meeting alone with the president, Comey says Trump brings up the investigation into Mike Flynn, his former national security advisor, fired because he lied about contacts with Russians.
And that's when he asked me, said he hopes I can let it go.
And when he said that, you thought?
He's asking me to drop a criminal investigation of his now former national security advisor.
Direction.
I took it as a direction. His words were, though, I hope you can let it go. I took the expression of hope as, this is what I want you to do.
The president says he didn't say that.
Yeah. What am I going to do? He did.
From this encounter, a startling conclusion. Was President Trump obstructing justice?
Possibly. I mean, it's certainly some evidence of obstruction of justice.
At some point in your mind, as you're writing these notes, have you shifted to collecting evidence of a possible crime?
Well, yes, in a sense. I continued to believe that there was force to the FBI General Counsel's argument that we're going to have to look at the president. You're inevitably going to look at his conduct because he's the head of the campaign.
As the interview concludes, Comey's personal judgments about the president scathing. You write that President Trump is unethical, untethered to the truth. Is Donald Trump unfit to be president?
Yes, but not in the way I often hear people talk about it. I don't buy this stuff about him being mentally incompetent or early stages of dementia. He strikes me as a person of above average intelligence who's tracking conversations and knows what's going on. I don't think he's medically unfit to be president. I think he's morally unfit to be president. Our president must embody respect and adhere to the values that are at the core of this country, the most important being truth. This president is not able to do that. He is morally unfit to be president.
White lives matter! White lives matter!
A person who sees moral equivalence in Charlottesville, who talks about and treats women like they're pieces of meat, who lies constantly about matters big and small and insists the American people believe it, that person's not fit to be president of the United States on moral grounds.
If you're right, what is the remedy? Should Donald Trump be impeached?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'll give you a strange answer. I hope not. Because I think impeaching and removing Donald Trump from office would let the American people off the hook and have something happen indirectly that I believe they're duty-bound to do directly. People in this country need to stand up and go to the voting booth and vote their values. Values matter. This president does not reflect the values of this country.
Powerful statement there, and there were so many jaw-dropping moments of the interview, and as you said, you spent several hours with him.
Everything about it is jaw-dropping when you think about it. I mean, you just take a step back here. There you had an FBI director who was investigating both presidential campaigns. Half the country thinks he decided the election. Then he's investigating the Trump campaign, and he gets fired by the president, and now for several hours, unloading like this. Again, we have never seen anything like this in our history.
What surprised you the most from the interview?
What didn't surprise me? I mean, it was really the judgments he came to in the end, that he cannot rule out that President Trump is compromised by the Russians. As I said in the interview, I was stunned by that. I'm stunned by it still.
And a lot of people didn't know the stance of his wife.
We're going to learn a lot more about her. I think it's one of the things, she only popped up a little bit in the piece last night, but when you find out that his wife and daughters were all in the march the day after the inauguration, it's something she explains a lot more about that at 7:30.
Okay, and James Comey's book is out right now.
Tuesday, tomorrow, comes out tomorrow, Higher Loyalty.
Okay, on Tuesday.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.